why is school for boys? I don't know if I'm sure why we have to ask that question. I mean, if ever there was a group of young people that clearly needed the focus of the best and brightest minds in education, it would be young men in urban public schools. I mean, the data on their outcomes is pretty overwhelming, and we've all heard it. Boys of color in particular are at the bottom of every category you can think of. Grades, test scores, special education, suspensions, expulsions, dropout rates, incarceration rates, unemployment. Our sons are being killed at a higher rate than everybody else. I think the need is clear. I mean, many parents are anxious about their sons, about getting them help, about them doing better in school. But if you are a parent of a son with dark skin, you have additional worries, like how to keep them safe. So we can't continue to pretend that our sons don't need something different than our daughters. The data tells us otherwise, but our experience also tells us. So, well, for one, we can't put our boys continuously in an educational environment where the primary strategy is sit, listen, read, and discuss. I mean, do you actually have to be an educator to know that that will not work with the vast majority of our sons? I have 3 sons and 1 daughter. They are fairly mild-mannered, but it's pretty clear that the boys are different. My daughter can sit and read for hours. My boys think reading is punishment. And when they sit for longer than 2 minutes, they start fidgeting and spinning in the chair, leaning back, because they just have a different energy. My daughter may be quiet, but if you ask her to discuss a book she read, get ready for some extended dialogue. My boys, they're more likely to tell her to stop talking than they are to listen, much less join in. Yet our sons are essentially punished in school for having boy energy, for being action-oriented, for wanting to do rather than listen, for wanting to move rather than to sit still, for being ultra-competitive and ultra-confident. We can't let them disrupt class. We can't let our sons choose not to read, or can't let them read comic books every day. We can't allow them to decide they don't want to learn how to speak thoughtfully and clearly, or to organize their book bags, or to write neatly. We got to get them to do that. But we can't punish them for being who they are. We have to use who they are to help them to become who they were destined to be, not who we want them to be. There is a diamond in that rough. There is greatness trapped inside. We just have to call it to come out, to demand that it come out. At Genesis Innovation Academy, we will let boys be boys. We will use games and sports and other forms of competition that they love to engage them in learning, not just playing. And since they need to be active, we'll let them kneel, lay on the floor, stand, whatever they need to do, as long as they produce great work. We'll put movement into the lessons. I mean, really, why do you have to count on a number line on paper when you can walk it out on the floor? We will ask them to build, to make, and create things instead of just reading about them in books. Well, right, let's be clear. Letting boys be boys is not an excuse to cause harm, or to let them disrespect their peers or adults, or to disrespect the values that their parents instill in them. No, on the contrary. There's nothing more damaging to our community than a disrespectful and out of control son. We can't allow that. Instead, we have to train our sons to become disciplined young men. So the sons of Genesis, they will be engaged in an ongoing rites of passage process that takes them from K straight through 12. At each phase, we will require them to demonstrate growth and maturity, and at each level, they will be celebrated for their progress by the entire community. Genesis also understands the importance for our boys to see manhood modeled. Therefore, we have made a commitment to hire a much higher proportion of male teachers than the typical public school. So we are very clear. Our boys need something different. At Genesis, we will give them something different. We will embrace boy energy and use it to our advantage as we raise the next generation of engineers and artists, doctors and lawyers, CEOs and presidents, but also the next generation of committed brothers, husbands, and fathers who help and not harm, and who lead and serve their families and their communities well. In short, we are raising men.